So I have the custom settings on the gimbal down extremely low, and having that set up as super duper slow just gives it a really cinematic look. Oh, another thing I love about the DJI gimbal, so the Z trigger I have set so that basically it doesn't move the camera. You can do everything you want, or if I'm shooting photos, I hit the Z trigger and it kills all the deadband that may happen over the course of the HDR, and so the photos are even more crisp than before. But of course, the last and most important thing is to have a solid shot list. Having that shot list ready to go is super duper helpful. The first thing I do after setting up my camera is just make sure that it's picture perfect. But as long as you're doing 4K, it's definitely gonna look the best. I don't use autofocus because it can kind of jump around as you're shooting. Doesn't look great. When I am shooting, I like to have grid lines on where it has all of these, because then you can really line up your verticals and make sure those look nice and crispy and clean. The designer decides to put up a mirror. So something to be highly aware of, like acutely aware of every time, is reflections. Always be aware of the reflections because you will definitely end up in them if you are not careful. One thing that's also great to do is to zoom in, because that's gonna give you more of like a higher end, like cinematic look, because it creates a little bit of bokeh, adds a little bit, like, it's really good for detail shots, right? Okay, so when we go from inside to outside, it is crazy different for the exposure values. So what I like to do is, again, I basically just go straight to the eyepiece. That way I can get a much better idea of what the correct exposure is gonna be.